Today we're exploring one of the most beloved stories in the Bible, Joseph and his coat of many colors. It's a story about family, jealousy, dreams, betrayal, and the surprising ways hope can rise even out of the darkest moments. Whether you've heard it before or it's brand new, this story has something for everyone. Let's begin. Joseph was one of the 12 sons of Jacob, yes, the same Jacob who wrestled with God. Joseph was 17, full of energy, imagination, and curiosity, and from the very beginning, it was obvious Jacob loved Joseph more than all his other sons. To show this love, Jacob gave Joseph a special gift, a coat of many colors. Not a plain coat, not a simple tunic. This was bright, beautiful, and expensive. It was like being handed a crown in the form of clothing. The brothers noticed, and they didn't like it. To them, the coat wasn't just fabric, it was a symbol of favoritism, a reminder that Joseph was the chosen one, while they blended into the background, and their jealousy began to grow. Joseph also had a habit of sharing everything he felt and dreamed even when maybe he shouldn't. One day, he told his brothers a dream he had. "We were tying up bundles of grain in the field," he said, "and suddenly my bundle stood up, and your bundles bowed down to mine." Not exactly the kind of story older brothers want to hear. If that wasn't enough, Joseph soon had another dream. This time, the sun, moon, and 11 stars bowed down to him. Even Jacob raised an eyebrow at that one. The message was clear. Joseph was dreaming of greatness, and his brothers were tired of hearing about it. Their jealousy turned into anger, and anger slowly turned into something darker. One day, Jacob sent Joseph to check on his brothers as they tended sheep far from home. When the brothers saw Joseph walking toward them in that bright, colorful coat, they didn't see family. They saw a threat, a reminder of everything unfair, and they made a plan. At first, some wanted to kill him, but Reuben, the oldest brother, convinced them not to shed blood. Instead, they grabbed Joseph, tore off his special coat, and threw him into a dry pit in the ground. Joseph, frightened, betrayed, calling out for help, was ignored. Then, when a caravan of traders passed by on their way to Egypt, the brothers made another decision. They sold Joseph as a slave. Just like that, Joseph went from the favored son to a prisoner, carried away to a foreign land. And the brothers, they dipped his colorful coat in goat's blood and showed it to their father, letting Jacob believe his beloved son had been killed by a wild animal. Jacob wept for days. As far as he knew, Joseph was gone forever. Meanwhile, Joseph arrived in Egypt, a powerful empire full of strange sights, languages, and customs. Only days earlier he had been wearing a royal-looking coat at home. Now he was a slave in a foreign land. But Joseph wasn't alone. The Bible says God was with him. Even when Joseph felt abandoned by his family, even when his future seemed ruined, God was quietly working behind the scenes. Joseph didn't know it yet, but this painful moment was only the beginning of a much bigger story. Joseph's story is filled with beauty and heartache. And even though this is only the first chapter of his journey, there is already a powerful lesson. Life can change suddenly, sometimes painfully, but that doesn't mean the story is over. Joseph lost his coat. He lost his home. He lost the people he thought he could trust. But he didn't lose God's purpose for his life. Sometimes the path to something greater begins in a place we never expected, in betrayal, in confusion, in the moments when we feel thrown into a pit. Joseph's story reminds us that even when life feels unfair or confusing, there can be hope in the journey we don't yet understand. Joseph began his story as a favored son with a colorful coat, but life stripped that away and carried him far from home. Even so, this wasn't the end, it was a beginning of a transformation that would one day save nations. Thanks for watching, and if this story captured your imagination, stay with us because Joseph's journey is far from over, and the best chapters are still ahead.